Today I'm going to be asking for a no for several reasons. I'd like to take a look back 10 years, Madam Speaker. The year is 2014. The Seahawks have just won their first Super Bowl, and the legislature was meeting and adopting their supplemental budget. And what was that budget in 2014, Madam Speaker? It was $200 million. And here we are, instead of $200 million, we're looking at $2.2 billion in a supplemental increase in funding. That's a 1,000% increase over 10 years. Washingtonians have told us, give us tax relief so we can afford to make our budget meet. And while the state has continued to grow, a lot of our residents haven't seen that growth in their budgets. We are one of the only states, Madam Speaker, that has not enacted broad-based tax reform in the entire country.
Other states do rebates back to the people in their state when they have excess revenues. States like California, Colorado, Delaware, New York, Georgia, Hawaii, and the list goes on and on and on. But while Washingtonians are hurting right now, we're not providing that relief to them.
Make no mistake, Madam Speaker, there's a lot of good things in this budget, and we're going to hear about some of those, and we would largely agree with them. There's good things all over, but it also is spread across a lot of areas that may or may not have a priority for Washington state residents for problems that they want us to fix right now.
There is a list of crises in our state, including public safety, the lowest per capita police, some of the highest homelessness, a drug epidemic, which we did invest a lot of money, but it's going to take more. And you can't just provide services, which we all agree we should. You have to provide enforcement as well. You have to get the drugs off the street.
Our state, again, as mentioned previously, is 51 out of 51 of police officers per capita. Homicides are up 96% in our state since 2019. We're, again, the #1 retail theft, #2 for property crime, and #3 for crime overall.
Frankly, I'm embarrassed by many of the numbers in our state. To say we're the 3rd highest state in the nation for gas prices, to say we have the 4th highest grocery prices in the nation, to say we're #4 in housing costs in the nation.
The learning loss that our students have experienced over the last 4 years with the pandemic is not adequately being addressed in this budget, and we made proposals today that could do so without growing the size of the state budget. Madam Speaker, I just met with a constituent of mine this weekend who said, I see how much we're spending across the state per pupil, and then I see the outcomes, and I feel like a chump. I feel like I'm being taken. I don't think that we're giving our students what they need if we're not directly increasing the funding to those direct student outcomes that help them have more academic success and make up for that learning loss.
We need to combat learning loss. We need to do better in our schools for our kids. We could have done that in this budget. We could have done more in this budget to do that.
While I agree, this budget is filled with things that I think are good, overall, it falls short of addressing things that we need now. This budget continues to fail to address the rising costs of living for all the Washingtonians in my district, and I would imagine in your district as well, Madam Speaker. This budget fails to address the public safety crisis facing Washingtonians now. Instead, it puts it off for later.
It fails to look at and recognize key priorities that matter the most to the bulk of our constituents across this state, many of which we brought up here in debate already. Providing relief for energy and gas prices, oppressive taxes that were built on the backs of our poorest people, making it harder for them to get to work, making it harder for them to afford groceries. We're in the top 5 for the most unaffordable for gas and groceries.
We've offered a number of amendments today to try to address real problems that Washingtonians, like those in my district and those in yours, demand answers for now. Not later, not at some point in the future. They want these problems addressed now. Frankly, Madam Speaker, this budget fails to fix Washington, and I'm asking for a no.